Hello guys, I'm at this channel. Today we are going to review Avatar: The Way of the Water. I got to go see it yesterday, and to be honest, well, you'll hear my thoughts here. So, just before we get started, just some end of the year notice. I had the Harry Potter movies ranked in Fantastic Beasts. I want to do that before the end of the year. And then we got MCU stuff, including movies, villains, and heroes. Heroes and villains are a tier list. And then two other new movies are going to be reviewed, including Glass Onion and Babylon, which I'm probably going to see within the next week or something. And then the end of the year rankings, which the only ones I think I'm going to do, definitely I'm going to do my top 10 favorite movies of the year. And then if I have time, I'll do my comic book movies ranked this year. Or what I might do instead, as an alternative, I might rank the Good thing my first Avatar review. I reviewed that yesterday, and let's get started. Starting with this movie's about, you have Jake Sully coming up the first Avatar. Him and Nai, or whatever her name is, Zoe Saldana. They start they marry or something, and then start a family essentially, 4 kids, and then also the Colonel's son or General's son is raised by the Nai people or whatever. And then the Colonel and a lot of and those people are back now. They get back as avatars. I don't remember how, because at the beginning of the movie, a couple things happened. Like I couldn't find my phone, but we're good. But that happened. But anyway, yeah, so he goes back wanting revenge against Jake Sully. So they attack the forest. Some bad things happen. So Jake Sully and his family have to move out of there into the water area, and they essentially learn the way of the water, and then get ready to fight it. Essentially, now we have the good, and I think the main thing that I just really want to talk about here is that, I mean, obviously the effects are amazing, but I think the story in this one and the scope are improved over the first one. First one kind of had a generic story. This one kind of, I mean, it's not really unique. We've kind of seen something like this before, but it's done in a very more complex way, and then it's sort of like a mix of revenge plotline, family, and sort of discovering and something new. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Lord of the Rings a little bit, where like, it's not quite like that, where you have the kids and what's it called? You have the kids and Jake Sully sort of discovering this new land, the way of the water, and discovering it, and it just looks so cool. Like there's those whale creatures called like the Tukun or something. I don't remember anything about that, but you see them appear, and then it just looks so cool. None of it looks like CGI. They feel like actors on screen. It looks all amazing, and the 3D effects are even better than they are in the first one. And like just like the first one, nothing feels spotless. Like everything is just perfect there, and just done so well. And I think the weight overall for this movie, after coming off of Avatar, which was like 13 years ago, I think, just I don't think this movie is disappointing whatsoever. I know some people are meh on it, but to be honest, I'm not one of those people. I absolutely, I don't know if I loved this movie, but I thought it was great. There's a lot of great things in this here, like, as I said, the effects. The characters are done much better, and Jake Sully, as a continuation of the first one, he sort of becomes, like, the big soldier, the leader, and does a great job. It's a little bit of a stretch, kind of, coming off the first one, but didn't really bother me, and then you kind of see him sort of realize that his kids are the most important thing in this family. And the way he kind of goes about it is very interesting. His kids are a nice addition to this movie, and also I just love the whole way of the water, the whole like tribe, them learning the way of the water. I've said it like 5 times in this video. Whatever. You see the way they learn that is just so cool just to watch. Sure, it goes on for a while, which that I'll talk about later, but yeah, it just looks so cool, and honestly, like, I just like what they did there. The Colonel, I thought he was actually one of the better characters in the first one. I thought he worked as a villain. He's even better in this one because he's on this sort of revenge plot line, and in the end, I just think that's a interesting idea. And honestly, I think the part that really excited me with this first one, the part that excited me here with this new one was that it's kind of like the Terminator 2 thing, where like the first one's good, but this one kind of just improves everything on it. So I mean, it's not something we've not seen from James Cameron. I mean, Terminator 2, Aliens, and this. So like the first one, yeah, it's good, but this one improves on the story. Characters are better. I think the action sequences are even better here, and overall, the movie is just handled so many things just very well. And to be honest, it made for a great theater experience. I would have wished I saw it in IMAX, but don't know if I'm going to go back to see this one again because it's long, but whatever. Yeah, so all those elements together, I thought this was great. Also, going back to the Colonel villain, I think as I said, his whole revenge plotline is really interesting. How he's learning a bit more about this as the world and just some things, and having a son and realizing that son has been raised by all of the Avatar people or the locals was very interesting plotline, a new dynamic to sort of throw in there. And I thought that character was a lot of fun. So overall, I loved all of those elements. The characters, the kids are pretty likable for the most part, and then the whole kingdom of the other Na'vi, where they're the water people, I guess, or water Avatar character. I don't know. That whole thing is just, all those characters are good for the most part, I guess. So it just brings something new to this whole world, and just makes it even better. Where like the first one, the world was so cool, but then they just expand a whole nother. It's like you learn about this whole universe, and then we realize there's another universe. So that's kind of what this movie kind of felt like. And the way it all plays out, I think, works very well. I think that it tugs at the right emotions when it needs to. There's themes of family and sort of, I guess, technically revenge. I doesn't really go into that, but I'm glad it didn't. And in general, James Cameron knows how to deliver a blockbuster that contains emotion, amazing action, amazing effects, and just some great themes there. He just knows how to do that, and he did that. He makes some great movies with some fantastic action sequences, but adds just some nice themes. Like, for example, Aliens could have just been another one of these great action movies, but then you see this whole plot line involving the surrogate mother. And then, so, also that, and then you have Terminator 2, another example where, like, you see John Connor actually bonding with this Terminator and having a father-son relationship with it, and teaching it, like, Earth-like things, and he just adds a second layer to everything, and that's why he's one of my favorite directors, because he just knows how to do a blockbuster so well, and he's probably one of my favorite blockbuster, he probably is my favorite blockbuster director. I think this movie was great. There were so many great things here. And the addition of the characters, the son and the daughters, I think, work very well. As I said, it's about sort of family. You see these family themes brought in there, and sort of their dynamic, I guess, works, and sort of thoughts on sort of showing on like sort of loss and failure when it comes to like one of the sons, where I'm kind of going on. So it wasn't perfect. There are a couple issues. Now it was mixed, and some of this was sort of my fault because I mentioned I lost my phone at one point. Like I eventually found it about like an hour into the movie, but whatever. But like the whole first half of the movie I think is a bit clunky, where like it sort of transitions in. It starts with like some montaging through sort of what happened between the first Avatar and where we pick up here, and then it says the humans are back about 20 years later, and then about a year like cuts to a year later, you see the Colonel is brought alive. The beginning of it's just really clunky. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just my fault because I was being stupid. But for the first 20 minutes, I was just kind of just sitting there a little confused until the scene where like the kids attack the Avatar characters, the old villains. Until that, like I was just like sitting there like confused. Eventually, I just sort of picked up on everything and I just went from there. I was like, okay, this is happening. But someone let me know in the comments below what exactly happened throughout the first 10 minutes of the movie, because the last trailer stopped. I think it was at Ant-Man 3, and then like the movie starts. Like, oh crap. So yeah, that was an interesting, and I didn't. So I sort of knew what was going on, but I wish I paid better attention. So my fault. Yeah, but anyway, the first half is still, not the first half, but the first 20 minutes are still pretty clunky. Then the movie kind of gets on track about probably 30 minutes into it. And I think the second half, I think, is way better than the first half, and because I think it's just a little clunky. No, it was the bad, and the main thing I wasn't crazy about. First one, the way they kind of brought the Colonel back, I was like a little confused. At the same time, I just wasn't like sure what was going on. So like that's one thing. But to be honest, I could sort of get past that and enjoy the movie. It was just odd how some things were done, but that part didn't really bother me that much. Second thing, it's the length. This movie kind of felt like the extended cut of itself, or sort of the in-between, because there are many parts that just go on for so long. Like, and honestly, most 3-hour movies like that I've seen, I'm gonna just pick ones I saw recently. Like, I watched The Batman not long before filming this video. I saw Wolf of Wall Street. Even The Godfather, I'd say. And, well, I don't know about The Godfather, but a bunch of movies I've seen that are probably around 3 hours long. They don't, also Django Unchained, they don't feel like 3 hours long. This movie feels it feels so long. And part of it's like, all right, whatever, but part of me is also like, it just feels like it's going on and on forever, and the pacing is not what I'd call fast. So like, I don't know, in the ending, just the third act feels so long and drawn out. As cool as the action sequences, as epic as I feel this movie actually is, and elements of it just don't really need to be, and I don't think it needed to be quite this long. I think you could have gone away with this movie for maybe about like two hours, maybe even like 2 hours and 45 minutes long, but 3 hours and 10 minutes is just too long. But still, I really enjoyed this movie, and I thought it was a great movie. It's so far, I think it's one of the better movies that came out this year. I don't know if I think it's like right outside the top 5 probably. So for this movie's final score, I think I'm gonna give it like a 9 out of 10. I thought this movie was great. I really enjoyed it. I understand some of the complaints I was seeing with some good friends, and they said they were like, all right. And I understand all of that, but for me, I thought it was great. It was a nice, epic story, and overall, I enjoyed it. But there are some things I'm not crazy about as well. I don't love the fact that James Cameron's probably only going to make Avatar movies for the rest of his career, which that's kind of frustrating. And I don't even think the first one needed a sequel. So I think maybe a trilogy. I feel like this one, either give this one and then the second one, maybe one more, and then cut it off. Except this is kind of like the Netflix thing where they go off the ratings and make more seasons. This is kind of literally doing the same thing, and I don't think they need to. So it's just a little frustrating to think about that, but still, I thought this one was better than the first one. It's like the Terminator 2, if the first one was like the Terminator, you know what I mean? So yeah, tell me what you thought about this movie in the comments below. Do you want to see it? Do you want to watch it and enjoy it? I think it was a great theater experience. Even though I didn't see it in IMAX, I recommend going to go see it in IMAX at 3D because the effects are just amazing. I kind of wish I got to go see it in IMAX. That would have been nice. So yeah, I think it's definitely one of the better movies this year, for sure. I'd say it lived up to my expectations pretty much when I was in the theater. I think it exceeded them. So yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment down below, and see you guys next time. Adios.